Naturally, a single mug of beer was enough to make me drunk, but the headache came almost immediately. That nasty headache that's the consequences of too little drinking when the liver is sobered up faster than the brain. I rubbed my temples and started looking for a pharmacy. I thought there has been a pharmacy around here. Or was it on the next street? There was aspirin at home, as well as Himitsu. At least she might be there. I didn't get headaches often, so I really couldn't stand the feeling. Not the pain itself, but the constant, inescapable distraction of it. The conversation with Ellie had left me feeling weirdly incomplete. Like when you can't answer a single question on an exam, it's the end of the course, and only now you realize that you've deprived yourself of an opportunity to gain an incredible bed of knowledge. I was wandering the streets without a purpose or direction, but I didn't want to leave that familiar area, so in the end I made a big detour and returned to the bar. A crowd of fans had started gathering at the nightclub. Wasn't it too early? I stopped nearby to think. Should I drop by for the Zed Feels performance? Just the memory of Ellie, furious and embarrassed, simultaneously made me smile. Hi. Michael approached me. Now here was one of the people I wanted to see the least right now. What are you doing here? I asked with undisguised irritation. I came for the concert. People say that the granddaughter of the head of the school council plays in this band. So when were you interested in rumors? So it's not true. He looked at me intently over his glasses. There are things that are so tied to an image of someone that you cannot picture him or her without them. If Michael was an RPG character, the glasses would give him a permanent +10 intelligence bonus. You'll find out soon enough since you're here. Aren't you going to the concert? I was thinking of dropping by, but changed my mind for some reason. I replied with blatant hostility. Still can't forgive me for my interest in Catherine. Trust me, you're the last person she's thinking about now. Did something happen? There's no need to tell Michael that Catherine was missing. I was so annoyed and couldn't stop, like a Gloucester block in the Cooper's Hill cheese rolling and wake. What? What? I don't know what the fuck you're saying there, buddy. It only concerns me and her. I assume that can be taken as an answer to my question then, regarding your attitude towards Catherine. Take us whatever you want, but we are together again if that's what you're asking. I blurted out and immediately caught myself. Said to be together, separated by thousands of kilometers. I didn't know for sure that Kati was still in Japan. Well, I'm glad everything is clear now. So what next? We'll just step back? I haven't decided yet. A fit of rage overwhelmed me. What the fuck was this entire circus for then? Asking for my opinion, showing off your supposed honesty, all under the cover of our friendship? Why, if you wanted to fight for her from the very beginning? And you know, it's not so much that I hate the fact that you like Catherine. She's a pretty girl. A lot of people like her. It's this petty, mean-spirited game of decency. Hypocrisy and lies to my face. You know it too, but you'll never admit it. Just keep hiding behind empty words. I just didn't want to affect your choice. Jealousy can fuel possessiveness. My choice. I laughed so loudly that many people gathered at the club turned to look at us. An American-style choice, I assume. Two seemingly opposing alternatives that are, in fact, the same. Like, we will fuck you in the ass anyway, good sir, but you can choose if you want it with lubricant or without. Ah. Huh. It's quite the analogy, sir. It's not like that at all. He replied less calmly this time. Prove it then. For example, forget about Catherine's existence. Trust me, she's not the person you need. I'd like to get to know her better and decide for myself. I'm not sure you'll get a chance. I smirked spitefully. You think stopping her from talking to other people is a sign of a healthy relationship? Maybe we'll just become friends. Who said I'd stop her from doing anything? So it's not about you. He stopped to think. Is this related to what we were talking about? Michael didn't finish the sentence but frowned and looked at me, as like I'd said something unflattering about his mother. You haven't dragged Catherine into something dangerous, have you? Have you considered she might have dragged me into something? Well, never crossed your mind, did it? That's why I'm saying this girl's more than you can handle. I'm not saying that you're lying, of course. Lying? Now let Michael finish. My knuckles seemed to crack by themselves. No. Misha, I'm about to break your face. I took a step forward. He was shorter than me and most likely weaker, but he kept standing there without any sign of fear. It felt like someone pulled an emergency brake inside me and I froze, as if ashamed to do this in front of everyone. Although, people had long stopped paying attention to us. But you know, I don't want to get my hands dirty. You can spit in the eye of people like you and you'll just say it's morning dew. Nick, you're not yourself these days, he said, ignoring my aggression. All the more reason not to make me angry. I snarled, turned around and quickly left the scene of a fistfight that never happened. This time I wasn't ashamed about my behavior at all. Yes, I overreacted a bit. Yes, I threatened him. But Michael's hypocrisy, his confidence in his own permissiveness, and impunity just didn't fit in with my morals at all. It is enough to be right. Means matter just as much. It's possible to support freedom fighters that really do fight for some sort of freedom but remain terrorists. Michael was underlining the absolute correctness of his behavior but remained a nasty little hypocrite. To some extent, it was all sophistry, to emphasize the formal rightness of your actions as much as possible, purposefully ignoring their absolutely foul substance. Michael was right about one thing. Catherine would have been safer with him. To be happy for a moment and then go 6 feet under, or to live a long life without ups and downs, an unremarkable but stable one. Did I have the right to make this choice for other people? And Catherine, no matter how much I wanted her to, was yet to give me a single hint she was willing to sacrifice anything to be with me. Are you out of your fucking mind? She made it very okay, not very clear that she wanted to be with you, but she's made it very clear she still cares about you, that there's still something there. And you're just like, yeah, she just doesn't give me any hint that she wants to be with me. Like, motherfucker, she's just got a lot on her plate. There are so many factors in her life she has to think about. Okay, there was a hint, and a big one. But when it comes to Katya, you son of a bitch. Like, okay, there was a hint, but that one doesn't count. Go fuck yourself, dude. This tiresome week was coming to its end. There was no hope the next one would be any better. I managed to spend the rest of the day walking around Tokyo, and I returned home. It was already dark. Yeah, the lights are on. The light was on in my windows. I'd been expecting it, even if not entirely. Himitsu decided to go on the offensive. Perhaps having realized Catherine had disappeared and she was left without a rival, she decided to bring out the artillery. So what could I expect next? A lace negligee? I want to see Himitsu. Not even because I was so mad at her. The mere thought of the sympathetic and commiserating expression on her face made me want to run away. Besides, Himitsu hadn't become a different person overnight, no matter what I was accusing her of. Was she really that guilty? These days I was almost jumping on people. Couldn't talk to others normally or tolerate any objections and was deaf to anyone else's feelings. Catherine, Katya. That was the only thing I was concerned with. That's the only thing you've ever been concerned with, dipshit. I bought a bottle of sake at a store and headed to the park. I sat down on our bench and took a big gulp. As soon as I closed my eyes, I could easily imagine that Catherine was sitting next to me, absent-mindedly looking at the lake as usual. I could whisper something quietly addressing her and imagine her reply. Just couldn't touch her. God, let her be okay. In a sense, it would have been better if she actually left for America. At least Kobayashi Corporation and Japanese intelligence would be able to reach her there. And was it really so difficult to believe Cheryl Winters' words? She did really look worried right after she found that note. But that's what concerns me, is the fact that she did look worried right after she found that note. Right? But she wasn't able to... The fact that it took a call from her grandmother for her to find out that she was in the U.S. and that her, with her intelligence connections and just her, abilities as an agent, couldn't figure that out herself, couldn't find the trail. That's what throws me off, because she did look genuinely worried after she found the note. What if the next day she was talking to me already knowing that Catherine was at her grandmother's place? I guess that's a possibility. She did connect the dots. I guess it is possible. Then her calmness was easy to explain. If that was true, then Katya had left me. For the second time. Or perhaps not the second one. I think it wasn't long before that terrible car accident. We had agreed to meet on the weekend and go to the cinema to watch an action film. Couldn't even recall its name. Maybe Catherine didn't like it, or maybe she just got bored, but soon after from the beginning she began to complain that she had a headache. I didn't take it very seriously, because apparently I found the film interesting. Catherine whined for a bit, then went silent, sat there until the end of the film, looking like she was at the dentist. When we left the cinema, Katya snapped at me. Well, happy now? Yeah, interesting movie. Yeah, right, so very interesting. Sitting there with a headache and shaking from each explosion on the screen. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was so bad. I told you. You should have been clearer, I guess. Could have left if you asked to. A normal person would understand, she replied, made an expression so pained you'd believe she'd had her leg blown off by a mine rather than a headache. Sorry, I'm not a normal person then. I like hearing all these unreasonable accusations. Next time, please be more explicit. There won't be a next time. She answered coldly, turned around and started walking away at a defiantly fast pace. Come on, Katya, stop, I'm sorry. I ran after her. Catherine was walking fast but not running. It was hard for me to adjust to her speed while not looking silly. In the end, I had to move on short jogs. You're acting like I was keeping you there on purpose. It doesn't matter if you did it on purpose or not. It's a matter of principle. Principle. Got it. Come on, I'm sorry. I tried to carefully grab her by the hand, but Catherine waved me off with such anger that I got scared for a moment. Hey, it's something this small shouldn't... Small things add up. Okay, then how about I sit through a 90-minute lecture on toxic masculinity and its role in the model of the patriarchal domination of modern society? Kashi let out a laugh against her will, her lips curling up. But she immediately got angry at herself for that and tried to put on her serious expression again. Do whatever you want. Seriously, you're acting like I was keeping you there by force. She didn't reply and tried to speed up even more. This started to resemble an episode of one of those stupid Japanese prank TV shows. Katya, enough. I grabbed her by the hand and stopped her. Let go. She started protesting loudly and tried to break free, so I had to pull her over and hold her in a hug. Let go. I won't until you calm down. The fight didn't last long. Finally, Catherine stopped resisting and just went limp in my arms. All good. Someone could have thought, but I knew the situation was possibly even worse than shouting and breaking dishes. I can't know what I'm doing wrong if you don't tell me. She didn't respond. Alright? I asked timidly. Why did I suddenly remember that episode specifically? Maybe because if Catherine hadn't gotten pregnant and left, we would have broken up anyway? Were we really fated to not be together? There was no such thing as a match made in heaven. I was running out of sake, and myriad stars were shining in the sky. They seemed to be brighter than usual here, although the city center with its excessive light pollution was just nearby. I raised the bottle and saluted to Aldebaran. For Catherine to be. I couldn't force myself to say alive out loud. Found. Even if I assumed her mother hadn't blatantly been lying to me, there was nothing I could do. Whether Catherine had been kidnapped or had really returned to the U.S., I was just a witness. Like Michael. Like Himitsu. Unfortunately, reality wasn't concerned with my feelings. I didn't drink a lot, but that sake turned out to be pretty strong. Sometimes when you're drunk, the future lead tends to look brighter. And sometimes you just don't care about what tomorrow might bring. All problems seem to fade away into minor complications. Of course, I couldn't stop caring about Catherine. As if swimming in condensed milk, I was walking towards my house. What could I say if Himitsu was still there? What could I do? I didn't have to report to her. I'm an adult already. If I want, I drink. But the lights were off. Despite being seemingly confident, I still tried not to make much noise when opening the door. I sneaked into the kitchen. The dishes had disappeared from the table, and the whole room looked somewhat weird. Gave it another look, trying to figure out what had changed. No way. I whistled. A thick layer of dust had disappeared from the shelves. The floor was shining, and all the dishes were washed and sorted. I quickly checked the other rooms. They, too, were unusually clean. I couldn't believe that Himitsu had managed to clean these Ogden stables alone in one day. No matter what I was accusing her of, I had to give her credit. I returned to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. It was late in the night, which meant that Monday had already come. Another day for me to go to school and pretend to be a highly functional member of society. Whether due to the alcohol or my personality, all of this suddenly started to seem so small and insignificant compared to the distance to Aldebaran, who I'd been drinking in the park with. Damn it. You could have seen where Catherine went. Except I would have had to wait 65 light years for a reply. That is a distance much greater than 2 football fields. Fuck, this has probably been the route I've been the most invested into. I'm hooked on this one. It often happens that the day after cleaning a room, you find it strange how tight it is, or even feel like it was only just renovated. If I didn't feel like getting up and ruining the peaceful picture with my presence. I wouldn't have, if not for Himitsu who was leaning over me.
Nika-kun, get up.
What time is it?
I didn't know that we could be late for school.
Half asleep, I didn't immediately realize what was happening. Habits formed over the years were stronger than my memory of the past few weeks. Man, why do I exist as a protein-based life form instead of a being of pure energy? I pleaded.
You made breakfast?
Himitsu said joyfully. Then I finally started coming to my senses. Luckily I managed to avoid a hangover this time. I sat up in bed and said, "Thank you, but I'm not planning to go anywhere today." I was trying to sound confident but not provocative.
Nika-kun,
She sighed heavily and closed her eyes.
at least eat some.
Definitely.
I need to go to school. See you tonight.
That didn't sound like a question. I responded with nothing and fell asleep right after she left. I wondered if Himitsu considered this situation normal. Perhaps she thought I had no right to be mad at her critically assess her actions in the first place. Her father was working for Japanese intelligence, she was helping him, but it was only for my own good. But Catherine's disappearance made me reevaluate my perception of what's normal and what's not, and what Himitsu had done no longer seemed like such a terrible betrayal to me. I mean, the whole reporting her things to her dad, yeah, if that's what you're talking about, that was never a bad betrayal. It was like 2 days. I'm thinking like, what she fucking did to Catherine was fucking awful. That was a terrible betrayal. That's so fucked. The fact that you can just ignore that fucking floors me. I felt rested and chipper, as often occurs when you manage to sleep as long as you need. Yeah, I don't know what that's like. A long cold breakfast was waiting for me in the kitchen. Quite a tasty one as it turned out, but simultaneously somehow lacking a warm and homely feeling. As if it had been bought in a supermarket. Done eating, I moved to the TV and spent a few hours just switching channels, unable to focus on anything in particular. The constant change of pictures somewhat distracted me from my thoughts. I knew that all I could do was sit like this waiting for some miracle to occur, and that depressed me even more. Close to dinner time, somebody rang the doorbell and I had to get up and open the door. It was Michael. It was Michael. I couldn't say I was happy about his visit. Just don't tell me you brought homework, I said sarcastically and walked out, letting him know that I wasn't planning to have any guests. Today they told us that Catherine is going to be transferred. Do you know anything about this? He looked worried, at least compared to his normal self, and I could hear the irritation in his voice. How would I? I haven't been to school. Yesterday he told me she had some problems. I said nothing like that. But you implied it. If you can read minds and know who implied what, why bother me? Yes, I guess I shouldn't have. Sorry to disturb you. He sighed and was about to leave, but suddenly stopped and looked at me suspiciously. It's still weird. Yesterday you claimed you two were together again. I was really hurt by his claimed. There's something snobbish and squeamish in it, so I couldn't control myself. Why are you always sticking your nose in other people's business like it concerns you? Why do you think Catherine and I have anything to do with you at all? Now you're standing here and looking like someone's offended and dishonored you, as if Catherine's your wife and I'm hiding some important information about her. For God's sake, stop behaving like that. Don't make me angry. I have nothing to lose. Is that a threat? Michael said in a disgusted tone, as if arguing with the owner of the dog whose excrement he just stepped in. It is, if you still don't get it. He kept looking at me coldly as if I wasn't a human being. I thought better of you. I thought you realized I don't give a shit about what others think about me. Maybe that's exactly why you're in this situation. What situation am I in exactly, huh? I took a step forward and leaned over him. Michael didn't react at all. Not a single muscle flinched in his face. You don't seem to be doing well. And what should a person who's doing well look like in your opinion? Should they be an unprincipled hypocrite like you? They shouldn't be this aggressive, at least. Have you ever thought that normal people worry when everything goes to hell in their lives? Based on your behavior, I'm not sure Catherine would be safe with you. Oh, fuck you! I lost control and tried to push him off the porch, but Michael grabbed my hands and pulled abruptly. Aikido? As a result, I fell to the ground and landed on the tiles in front of the house. You bitch! Are you sure you wanted to continue? Yes, in the same calm tone. To be fair, I felt much less confident than before. Just a second ago, I thought that I could easily beat him if I need to. You Americans love private property, so I'm kindly asking you to get the fuck off of mine. Finally sighed heavily and rolled his eyes. Unfortunately, you're right about one thing. In this situation, I can do nothing to help Catherine stop this toxic relationship. Fucker. I doubted even a more even-minded person would have been able to tolerate that. I stood up and threw myself at Michael, but immediately got punched in the cheekbone. Ooh! Not very strongly, but enough to calm me down. Actually, yeah, go figure. It's a pity that she got involved with someone like you. He spat out and walked away. I kept staying in place for a while, feeling my face. It hurt, not as much as my self-esteem. I felt weak and powerless. An almost forgotten feeling. Last time I experienced something like this was back in middle school, when I would have to fight my seniors. I could have accepted being beaten by some Japanese, KGB, or CIA agent, but Michael? How could I bear such humiliation? If only I could commit harakiri with a bokken. I returned to the house and opened a bottle of whiskey. Yeah, go ahead, solve your problems with alcohol, dickweed. As it turned out, there was another next to the one I had finished a week ago. There wasn't much left inside, but just enough to shut up my hurt pride. Drunkards are the most patient people in the world when it comes to self-respect. They can forget and forgive anything for a bottle. I sat in front of the TV with a glass in my hand, trying not to think about what had just happened. If I didn't go to school anymore, I most likely wouldn't ever see Michael again. Everything of genius is simple. I ran out of whiskey pretty quickly, and the monotonous voice of the announcer quickly made me fall asleep. Sleeping during the day is the art of the true samurai, because there is always a risk of waking up not remembering who and where you are. And sleeping in the day, being drunk, is a really risky adventure.
Nika-kun?
A quiet voice reached my conscience as if having traveled hundreds of light years. I tried to open my eyes, but they seemed to have become one big bruise.
Nika-kun?
The voice could only belong to Himitsu. But what was she doing so far away from home, in another solar system, or maybe on the other end of the galaxy?
Nika-kun!
The voice was getting more and more persistent. I can't. I'm dying. I moaned and had a fit of consumptive coughing.
Don't worry, you'll live.
Surprised by these words, I managed to finally open my eyes. My whole body was swollen, as if somebody had pumped a gallon of water under my skin. Himitsu was still wearing her school uniform. Apparently she didn't stop by her home first.
What's with your face?
What was with it? I touched the cheekbone Michael punched. Ouch. I fell. I lied. There's no point to it, but when you try to look like a good boy for so many years, it becomes a bit difficult to stop all of a sudden. If Mom doesn't know that you smoked, you'll be hiding cigarettes from her even at 30.
Nika-kun.
She sighed heavily and rolled her eyes. I fell on the bottle with my face. I searched around and showed her the empty bottle of whiskey.
Good that wasn't some other part of your body.
Himitsu smirked and immediately added,
Do you want to eat?
No, but thank you. I really didn't want to. My stomach rebelled against the very thought of it.
I'll cook anyway. You can eat later.
She started cooking, and I turned the TV on to have something to drown out the loud, awkward silence. What if things returned to normal? Could that happen? I'd lived the whole previous year without Catherine. It wasn't even all that bad. Now I didn't have Katya in my life again. There was less and less hope for a return. So what if Ito and Himitsu's spying? Were they really that important? If I hadn't gone to that village then, hadn't heard that ill-fated conversation, maybe nothing would have changed in our relationship. Is it bad to have someone by your side, even if they're hiding something from you? I can be sure about one thing. Himitsu only wished me well. Even though it would have been much easier to do just that, I knew deep inside we'd passed something like a point of no return in our relationship. Nothing would be the same again, no matter how hard she was pretending. It wasn't even about Himitsu and her father. It was about me and Catherine. One cannot be forced to love someone, but it's also true that one cannot be forced to stop loving. Of course, it hadn't always been nice and smooth between me and Katya, rather the opposite. But I loved her and I couldn't do anything about it. Sometimes the sum of the parts doesn't add up to what you're expecting. All Himitsu's kindness and care didn't automatically translate into love on my part, and damn it, I was tired of blaming myself for it. You know, it doesn't really matter how you get to the foot of a mountain, slowly making your way down or jumping off the peak. Either way, you'll find yourself at the bottom.
What are you talking about, Nika-kun?
I'm saying you should stop pretending that everything is alright between us. Himitsu turned off the tap and put the half-washed pot on the table.
Nika-kun, why are we having this conversation again? We were practically given a second chance.
What kind of second chance are you talking about? She didn't reply right away, like she were picking her words in a foreign language.
Now, when Caddy-chan has left.
Left, you say? How do you know about that? Something evil, dangerous, malicious started to boil up inside of me. Did your daddy tell you his reward for distinguished service?
At school.
Her voice cracked.
They told us at school that you wouldn't be studying with us anymore because she returned to the U.S.
That's so. Maybe I was blaming Himitsu for nothing, but the way she ignored the subject couldn't be called sensible either.
Nika-kun, what you just said had hurt me.
Sorry, I'm not the most tactful person in the world. But change is nothing. It's not about what I've said, it's about what you've done.
If you want to talk about...
I interrupted her. I don't see the point in talking about anything with you. At least anytime soon. Himitsu took off the apron, folded it carefully, and dropped it on the table.
So you're kicking me out?
I stopped myself. Himitsu, stop being dramatic, pretending to be all humiliated and offended. We both know that you've gotten very good at playing my sense of guilt. But I'm tired of bearing the blame. Right, wrong, it's all relative. Belief, justice, guilt, responsibility, obligations, money, politics, borders. All those are just made up by people. They're just social constructs that simplify everyday life and interactions between people. But I love Catherine, and for me that is the only reality, because I feel this love every moment of my life. It is also very real to me that I don't love you. I'm sorry. I can't pretend anymore. What you did, it ruined everything, understand?
Why do you hate me so much, Nika-kun?
Himitsu asked with tears in her eyes. It's not about hate. I mean, it is for me, but okay. I started squirming my chair as if someone had put a pin on it. It just so happened that I couldn't find the right words and wasn't sure that Himitsu would be willing to listen to me. More importantly, could understand me.
So it means nothing to you that...
God, here we go again. Finally, I felt I couldn't stand any longer. I jumped up and started walking through the kitchen in wide strides. Am I indebted to you? Do I have to pay you reparations like a war criminal? Of course it all means a lot to me. But it doesn't mean that we're meant for each other.
I understand, Nika-kun. Thank you for explaining.
Himitsu wiped her tears and looked at me absentmindedly as if trying to remember something.
I wish you good luck.
Then she left the room, put her shoes on, and quietly closed the front door behind her. It's not difficult to cut out an abscess, but the resulting wound will probably take a while to heal. I was lying in front of the TV and thinking through countless scenarios of what I could have said and done differently. Most importantly, I wasn't at all sure that I ended up choosing the right one. Wait, are you trying to tell me something? Hold up. The rest of the day was spent in pointless languor. When night came, the demons hiding my soul started to come to the surface, and I could no longer bear to stay alone in the empty house.